So Tahlia, everyone knows writing a novel is hard, but what are the challenges no one actually talks about?
Yes, well, there's a good reason why no one talks about them. Do you really think we should pull the veil away? People might not like what's underneath.
I think it's good to know what to expect, even if it's not what you want to hear. Plus, we have a therapy cat.
But I don't want to put anyone off from writing that book that they've always wanted to write.
You've written, what, 11 books now? And another one on writing is coming out before Christmas. Mm-hmm. So you must think that the benefits of writing a novel outweigh the challenges though, right?
Sure. And I've experienced these challenges with every book.
So what are the big challenges? Plotting, grammar, making characters readers care about?
Well, they're challenges for sure, but everyone talks about them. No, the hardest parts are the unexpected personal struggles along the way. Hi, I'm Tahlia, the managing editor at Alkira Publishing.
And I'm Rose, book designer at Alkira Publishing. And this is Loki, the furry support officer.
At Alkira Publishing, we help authors with writing, editing, publishing and book design. And on this channel, we share honest conversations to guide you on your writing journey.
So in the interest of ruthless honesty, we're talking about the personal challenges in writing a novel that no one talks about. So Tahlia, what was one of the first challenges you faced?
Time, I think. Inspiration doesn't necessarily strike when you're sitting down at your computer during your dedicated writing time. For me, it happened in the middle of the night, or while I was driving, or just when my daughter needed help with her homework or dinner needed cooking.
Yes, I remember some rather late dinners. And promises that homework help would come later, but by the time you got to me, I'd done it myself. And then there was that other time that you nipped off to write a scene in the middle of cooking dinner and only came back when the smell of burning food brought you back to the kitchen.
Yeah, but you and your father were really great about it.
Lucky we're both creative and understand the struggles. But what do you do if your family doesn't really get it? Not everyone's got a creative family who is quite as supportive.
No, that's right. And I don't think you can assume that they will be. We had a family chat about it early on, so you and my husband both understood that the writing was important to me and that writing while the inspiration was there was critical to the quality of my writing. So I recommend having a clear conversation with your family, explaining why putting aside writing time matters to you and why it might not always happen within the structure.
And you might need to make some compromises too, right?
Yeah, exactly. If you've got a young family, for instance, then there are simply times that you have to be there for them. And you have to balance your writing time with whatever other responsibilities that you have. And that can be a big challenge.
Big juggle. Okay, but what about when it's not time but people? Did anyone ever not take your writing seriously?
Oh yeah, my siblings reacted with disbelief. You're writing a book? Why? They made it sound like it was a really stupid thing to do and that I had no hope of actually publishing a book. It hurt.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they didn't mean it that way. No, they probably did. Or they were probably just shocked.
I think they were just shocked.
Surprised, like came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. I think for a new writer, though, it doesn't take much to fuel your self-doubt. It's easy to read into things that people say that they've got some sort of lack of belief in your ability, even if that's not what's intended.
I think every creative artist in any artistic pursuit will struggle with self-doubt at some point. It really is part of the process.
Yeah, I've been a creative person in lots of different kinds of creative pursuits and it's always there, yeah.
So when you doubted if your book was good enough, how did you deal with that?
You mean when I doubt, not when I doubted?
What's the difference?
Doubted is past tense. Doubt is present. My point being that even experienced authors can still experience self-doubt.
Right.
Once you've published one book, you know you can do it, so you're not doubting whether you can do it or not, but you doubt if the book you're working on is going to work, for instance, or if it's something anybody will want to read.
Yes, I know a bit about self-doubt from making short films. So what's your advice for handling that?
Very relevant. I've learned to see doubt as a kind of protector, actually. At first I tried to push it away, don't have doubts, doubts are no good. That kind of thing, yeah. But
That kind of just makes them come back
That's
and
right.
get louder though.
yeah, they don't go away just because you want them to go away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The more you try and like squish them away and push them
Yeah.
into a corner, they just get bigger and bigger and come back.
Yeah, exactly. So one day I had a conversation with my doubt.
You what now?
I imagine the doubt as a person sitting on a chair in front of me. Right? It's a therapy sort of thing that you can do. Right? And I asked it what its game was. I asked it why it was acting against me.
Okay. And what did it say?
It said that it didn't want me to make a fool of myself by publishing something terrible.
Yep. Fair enough. I think my doubt monster would agree with that. What did you say back to that?
I said I needed its support, that it wasn't helpful to have a part of me whispering in my ear that maybe my writing wasn't very good.
And what did it say to that?
It said I actually needed it, right, to make sure that I sought support from the people who could help me make sure it was good enough.
Right. So your doubt was yourself, your subconscious letting you know that you needed to get feedback from someone else?
Exactly. And support. I asked your father to read it and be honest in his feedback, which he was. And it was initially pretty crushing. This is my first
He's a
book.
very honest man.
But he did say that he thought it was worth working on more. And doubt shut up at that point.
Which is big praise coming from Dad also. I think it also depends, like, 'cause the person you need to ask a person that you trust to actually be honest as well.
Yes.
If they say, if it's crushing feedback and they don't say it's worth working on, I don't know where you'd go from there.
Well, maybe you just go, okay, I'll try a different story. I don't know. But that was his effort to be encouraging. So, and I did work. That was my first book.
Yeah, the first one's
The
always
first
the
book,
worst. Yeah.
So the doubt then sort of faded away because I'd got the support that I needed and I got the feedback that I needed.
Interesting. So instead of fishing for reassurance, you recommend seeking real feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd go for honesty over false encouragement every time.
Yeah. Because you don't want to be having other people delude you and fueling your own delusions if it's actually not good.
Yeah, that's right. And your self-doubt will just get louder.
Yeah.
You know, and it, for a reason, it's actually a protector.
It's an interesting way of looking at it.
Yeah, but you've got to find out what it is that it's telling you to do. And usually in the creative field, I think it's you have to get support.
Yes.
Don't do this on your own. That's my experience anyway.
I think it's very it's true of the film world as well. What if your doubt takes the feedback you get just as ammunition to lay the self down on even thicker?
Good question. Some people have an inner critic that's so strong and insistent that it just cripples their creativity. So you have to be careful not to believe it. It's just your fear talking, right? Trying to protect you from the unknown. And it will say anything to get you to stop trying something new. Nothing it says is true, so it's best you don't believe it.
So what, you treat it like a bird singing or something? It's just like, it's background noise, just a thought, nothing to actually believe. That's so much easier said than done.
Yeah. But you have a chat with it. Say, okay, I hear you. Again, you can go away now. Bye.
So you acknowledge it, but don't buy into its story.
Yeah. You acknowledge it, you hear it, but you don't get involved with it. Don't go down the rabbit hole. But every author will find their own way to handle their doubt. And if it means that you stop writing for a while, it's fine. It's not a failure because you did get started and you probably will return to it at some point. It's just part of the writing process that no one talks about. In fact, giving up occasionally is a healthy thing to do.
I've given up on my career multiple times and then gone back to it. I would have thought you'd say that you'd have to stick with it and see it through at all costs. You're a very stubborn and driven person.
Yeah, I'm talking about a kind of stress relief switch. Right? When it all gets too much, you just say, okay, that's it, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yep.
Right? And you just drop it all. You totally let it go and you go for a walk or you go do some painting or crocheting or swimming or anything else for a while, right? And you'll find that you naturally kind of do a reset. Okay. And then you'll find at some point wanting to go back to it. And when you do, you've got a fresh perspective. And it could be a minute later, it could be several months. Doesn't matter how long you have a break. So long as the giving up is total in the moment. You just have to give up like you're not going to go back to it, even if you know inside that you probably will.
It's a good stress relieving method.
Yeah, just, okay,
Yeah.
I'm done with it.
So that could work as a clearing of a creative block as well. If you're really stuck on something, you need to like drop it from your mind and do something else and go, okay, I'm not going to worry about it.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes the pushing and squeezing will just
it just makes
won't
it
get
worse.
you anywhere.
No, you just
you
get
need
in
the
a knot.
inspiration to come back at that point.
Yeah, and I find my best ideas come when I'm not thinking about it. When I'm walking, meditating, doing craft, that kind of thing.
What about the dreaded, how's the book going question? Did you get that one too?
Oh, yes. Anyone who knew I was writing a book, the first thing they'd say when they rang or visited or anything was, how's the book going? And I really found that difficult because the answer was never simple. And it always made me feel that I should be further along with it than I was.
So it made you feel pressured to tell them you'd progressed in some way or...
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you handle that?
Well, I learned to keep it short and light. My stock reply became, oh, it's coming along nicely. But I also wished I hadn't told so many people that I was writing a book.
Yes. So that's another piece of advice. Be careful who you tell. Although I do find that telling people does give you a sense of accountability. Like if you have a history of giving up on projects before even starting them properly, it can help with the accountability portion of it and to make it into a real thing.
Yeah.
But yes, then the pressure of them then asking how it's going becomes a bit of a, do you want the real answer? Because I'm having a meltdown about it. Which maybe you don't want to tell everyone.
Well, that's what I mean. That's like, be careful who you tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't maybe tell people that you don't have a really great relationship with.
What about rejection? So the famous story is, J.K. Rowling had 11 rejections before a publisher picked up her first Harry Potter book. That actually sounds like a really low number to me now, knowing what I know about the publishing industry. But no matter what the number of rejections is, that must be hard to handle.
Yeah, rejection is just part of the process of getting your book published. And you can feel rejection at any point where you get feedback that's a bit negative. So you do have to deal with that.
Yeah. So what's your advice on that?
Well, for me, it was a matter of catching the negative self-talk in my mind and reminding myself
Got it.
that, one, not everyone is going to like your book. And just because they don't like it or don't want to publish it doesn't mean it's bad. Two, if it's feedback from an editor or a beta reader that makes you feel rejected, then you can reframe it so you see it as an opportunity to look at the book again and improve it. So that makes it a positive thing. And the third thing is I reminded myself that I am not my book. So a criticism of my book isn't a criticism of me as a person.
Yeah. And that can be a really hard distinction to make for a creative because you
Yep.
poured your heart and soul into
That's
this
right.
thing.
Yep.
And even the act of sharing it with people is a big step. And then
Yeah.
when they come back and criticize it, it's like, it can be crushing. And some reviewers aren't good at separating the book and the writing from the author. So some reviewers won't be very nice about that.
Some reviews that you get on public, review sites can be.
They will attack the author rather than the work, which
Yeah.
is not fair.
No,
at all.
that doesn't make it easier to do
No,
that. But
it makes it really hard.
The thing is, this is my book. Yes, it's very personal, but it's not me. That's my book. It's how I've done it, but it's not me.
Yeah.
So criticise my book, but don't criticise me. Oops, sorry. I mean, really, basically, you just have to completely ignore those kinds of reviews because it just means that the person writing them isn't a nice person. And their opinion really doesn't warrant your attention or consideration.
Any other advice on handling negative reviews in general?
Well, when you're starting out, it's really hard not to want to read all the reviews and be upset by the negative ones. But my advice is just to make sure that your book is really good before it's published. So you're confident it's a good book. And then you can just ignore anything that's less than 3 stars. Just don't read them.
And remind yourself that not everyone is going to like your book. book, right? So those 3-star reviews are probably just people that didn't like it.
Yeah.
You can't please everyone.
And everyone gets negative reviews, right? There's nothing that you can do about them anyway. So accepting it as part of the job and getting on with writing your next book, I think, is the best thing to do.
Onwards and upwards. My self-doubt is wondering, though, if those reviews might have some message that could improve your next book, though. So maybe reading them.
Sure. Then you need to evaluate the worthiness of the reviewer's opinion, you know, and also make sure when you read them that you're in a good space. It's not going to plummet you know. Into the... But you have to ask the question, who are you going to believe, right? Some random reader or the professionals that you employed to make sure that your book is solid? That said, the reviewer may be an editor and may have something to say that your editor needs to hear.
Like allowing too many present participles at the start of sentences, right? See our video titled 6+1 Tips for Writing Better Prose.
Yes.
I read that off an auto cue, can you tell?
Yeah, well, I mean, not all editors are good editors, right? Which is another reason to study the writing craft yourself and be careful who you employ and be prepared to pay professional rates if you want a professional job. But it pays off when it comes to negative reviews because you can go, no, I know I've done it properly, and that's just their opinion.
Yeah.
So that's really my advice. Just get it right before you publish it.
So what would you say is the most challenging thing that authors face that no one talks about?
I'm not sure I should say it.
Why?
It's really not what people want to hear. That's why it's so difficult.
Let me guess, it has something to do with sales.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. The hard truth is that most authors don't sell very many books. Data from BookScan on the top 10 mainstream publishers found that 66% of books sell less than 1,000 copies, and a mere 2% sell more than 5,000. And that is for mainstream published books.
So even with a mainstream deal, the odds are really stacked against you.
Yeah.
What about self-published books? Is it worse?
Well, Words Rated data indicates that over 90% of self-published books sell under 100 copies during their lifetime, right? And the average is 250 books over the book's lifetime.
Yikes. And what, authors get $5 profit a book?
Mostly.
I'll leave that up to you to work that maths out.
However, the Alliance of Independent Authors data on authors who spend 50% or more of their time writing and who run their writing like a business says that 41% of self-publishers that have responded to their survey have earned more than $20,000 as authors during the past 2 years. And the median writing and self-publishing related income in 2022 of all self-publishers that responded to their survey was $12,749 for the year.
Well, that's at least covering the costs of book production.
Yes, but you're running it like a business, like with regular promotions and writing books continuously. And it is only 50% if you're working time, right? In my experience, most authors have one or maybe a few books that they want to publish, but they don't want to do the promotions necessary to get sales. And so here's the crunch. They can be disappointed, and the disappointment can be crushing.
Yeah, so it is important to have realistic expectations. I know you always say, no expectations, no disappointments.
That's right. And that's what I say to my authors. Treat your writing as a hobby, and just as you wouldn't expect the money you spend on an excellent set of golf clubs to pay itself off financially, set your expectations on personal satisfaction. You'll get that book out there, you'll make a few sales, and if it hits the big time, that's just a bonus.
Yeah, but everyone wants to be in that 2%, right? And there's no harm in hoping for that.
Of course they do. I knew the odds were stacked against my books getting into the 2% that got a mainstream deal, but I was still disappointed when my first book sold just over 1,000 copies.
Oh, given the stats you just said, that was a great result.
Yeah, I'd love it if my new book sold that number, but the Psychopagination series is for a small niche market, so I'm fine with just a few sales.
That's a low bar to set.
Well, I mean, my standard for success is actually publishing the book that I envisaged, and that is an excellent quality book, as judged by reviewers from industry professionals. Yeah.
Fair enough. So how do you suggest authors handle getting less sales than they would like?
Well, I think that you need to look at how you define success and frame it in terms of personal goals rather than sales.
Yeah. So writing a novel is less about word counts and more about resilience, communication, and reframing your setbacks.
That's a very good summary, yeah. And if you're watching this and struggling, know that you're not alone. Share your story in the comments and maybe I can help.
So, at the end of the day, if you don't try and market your books, you're really not setting yourself up for any chance of success or book sales as well.
Well, as I say, it depends what you consider success to be. And
yes, of course. But if you're measuring success in book sales, then you do need to be making your own marketing and
I don't advise
you don't advise setting success by sales.
I don't advise that at all. I really don't.
Yep.
And that doesn't mean to say that you're not looking for sales. It just means that you're not pressurizing yourself.
Yeah.
Of course, you have to do marketing. If you want sales, you have to do marketing. There's just no way around that. If you've got a big bunch of friends and all those friends love your book and talk about the book, that's great. That's the best thing. But,
Yeah. Leverage your personal network. So redefining your definition of success is a good way of managing the
and
expectations.
And seeing your book writing as a long game as well.
It's a marathon, not a sprint, for sure.
Yeah, and it's like your marketing efforts, for instance, you've got one book out, right? And you do a certain amount of marketing for it. And it's only going to go so far because you've only got one book. Once you've got a whole bunch of books, any marketing you do for any one of those books, assuming your books are good, if you get new readers and they like your one book, they'll read all of your books. So it's, you've got to set yourself up for the long haul.
It's an ecosystem of content.
Yeah, and that's running it like a business.
Yes.
Right, and that's very different to just, I've got this one book, I just want to get it out there. And then you should just go, you got my book in my hand.
Woo! Success!
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're not pressurizing yourself.
Yeah.
And you're not crushed with disappointment. Rather, I sold a book. Yay.
Yeah. I see why you didn't want to mention that one.
It's hard.
So tell me, how did you relay all of that data off the top of your head without the auto cue in front of us?
Well, apart from having the auto cue in front of us, I knew that data because of the research I did for my new book on writing called Novel Writing Mastery, a step-by-step guide from concept to publication. Right? It covers all the things we talked about in our writing journey playlist so far.
Yes, that will be very handy for all of you viewers to have it all written down. But there has to be lots of books on writing out there. So what makes your one any different?
Well, unlike other guides that only focus on craft, this book also addresses the psychological challenges every author faces that we've just talked about. And it shows you practical ways to move through them.
Self-doubt, procrastination, all the kinds of things we've talked about in this video.
And other things that people don't tend to talk about too.
And that book will be out in December, so sign up to our mailing list, link in the description below, to make sure you get notified when it's released. You'll also get a novel revision checklist when you sign up that authors have found very helpful at the second draft stage.
And in the meantime, pick up the Elements of Active Prose, writing tips to make your prose shine, to help you at the self-editing stage.
And if you'd like to talk with us about your book, head to alkirapublishing.com and get in touch. We always love to talk to authors about their books.
And don't forget to subscribe, like, share and comment. I hope to see you again soon.